Hey guys, it's Mannequin, and today I am finally going to acoustically treat the space that I listen to music in all the time, and most of the reason for that is because I got in some Atom A7Xs, and I really want to take advantage of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take like these really big open walls that have absolutely no like diffusion on them or anything to absorb like sound at all, and put up a whole bunch of acoustic foam. Acoustic foam! Oh no, what, bass traps, DIY bass traps. Okay, look, I'm in an apartment. I can't nail stuff into the walls and like have an insane amount of holes in the walls because I want to get my deposit back. They're not going to give me my deposit back, but I don't want to get in trouble basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang acoustic foam on the walls using the method I outlined before, which I don't have my sticky tape stuff, but it's basically, it's kind of like this double-sided adhesive tape stuff. It's called like a nanogel tape or something. And it's reusable, like you wash it and reuse it. It's very bizarre, but one of the cool things about it is I was able to hang acoustic foam in my closet that I use for recording vocals, and actually in a way that it won't peel off paint when I leave. So I can just take the foam down and then throw it in a crate or something, and then when I get to the other place, just put it back up using the same adhesive that I put on it the first time. It's kind of cool stuff, actually. Works pretty well. So I am not using Arlex foam because Arlex foam is an insane ripoff. I am using Foambymail Foam Factory's 4-inch acoustic wedge foam. 1 inch is garbage. Don't even think about 1 inch. 2 inch is like, it'll get some high frequencies and a little bit of mid-range, but you really start to get benefits when you go up to 3 inches for the acoustic foam thickness. And 4 inches is what I'm trying this time because I have 3 inches in the closet. 4 inches is gonna go on the walls in here. And these are super light, so they won't damage the walls once I stick them to the walls. I'll be able to pull them off without any issues, won't leave any residue, won't peel any paint off. It'll be great. So I have 96 square feet of these. Oh, it's going to be a lot to hang up. But 96 square feet of these that I'm going to hang up all along the walls in this room, and we're going to see how much it helps. So this is kind of your initial sound demo of what it's going to sound like. I'm not going to do like a hard A-B comparison because that is just too much work. And I already recorded a video today that I still have to edit. So this is just kind of like a very quick, hi, I'm going to finally acoustically treat my space. Because what I want to do is I want to actually start doing more like microphone tests. So I have an acoustic guitar that I could test. I have electric guitar with some amps that I could test. And then I could sing, not very well, but I can sing. And actually test some microphones that are not being tested by, what's his name, Bandrew from Podcastage. So I was going to try some mics that really he doesn't get to because they're not mainstream mics. They're like very one-off mics that you wouldn't think about picking up. But I have a handful of them and I wanted to try them. One is an inexpensive tube mic too. It's under $200 and it is a tube condenser microphone. And it is actually really good. So hopefully in the future, I will have a video for that. But that is not today. Today is all about the acoustic treatment. So it's time for me to go and start hanging things up on the walls. Okay, so before I put up the last panel, I figured I'd show you guys what exactly I was doing to each of these panels to get them to stick to the wall. Basically, what I have is I just have like small piece of this, nanogel adhesive tape, double-sided stuff. So I just peel back a little bit, about that much, cut it around here, and then I'd take that tab and then cut it in half, and then push them really firmly onto the corners. And then what you end up with is the sticky side is now stuck to the foam, and you just have to peel off the little plastic cover on the other side, which gets tedious after a while, but after you do it enough times, it's not that bad. And then you have your foam tile that you could stick to the wall. And last night I had 2 fall off the wall, and I had to re-adhere them, and then in the morning I had 1 more fall off, but the idea is, like I mentioned in my other video where I did my closet already, once they get correctly stuck to the wall, they won't fall off. It's just that first couple of days where you figure out which ones are actually adhered to the wall enough, or whether you need to just push them for a little bit longer up against the wall so they get better adhesion. But yeah, just wanted to show you what I was doing on each of these, and this is what's keeping them up, stuck to the walls. Okay, so I'm back and I finished hanging up all the acoustic foam on the walls. You can see all over the place, tons of stuff hanging up. And we now have an acoustically treated space mostly. It's not completely dead, and most of the reason for that is because my ceiling has absolutely nothing on it. So I was thinking about maybe moving the stuff from my closet onto the ceiling just so I could have the best acoustics in here and just record in here. But I'm not going to do that today because it's taking a lot of time to just hang up what I have so far. And it's made a really big difference. Like the sound, like my speakers sounded good before, but what has changed is they now sound super tight. They have way better dynamics, and when you're listening to something and you're sitting in front of it, you could feel the distinction between things so much better. Like an individual sound has a much more distinct sound than what it did before. It doesn't sound like it's washed out. And I think that's the big thing that reverb does that a lot of people don't realize. For recording, it doesn't just change the tone, it washes through like all the sound and kind of blends it together in a way that makes it very hard to get good clarity. So that's why acoustic treatment is so good for recording. But the same thing is true for monitoring. Sure, you have like resonances and like reverb that happen naturally, and those things are a little bit more easy to pick out because when you like have some certain sound in your room, you could hear it like resonate, and that's like really annoying. And separately, like if you clap, you could hear that reverb in your room. But those are the more obvious things. The more subtle things that you don't really notice are just how much sounds in your room are washed together even when you're listening to them, playing them back, not just recording. And I think that's what was kind of interesting about like this case with listening through my studio monitors is now it's like so much more distinct, and it was really worth it. Even though like, you know, you might still hear a little bit of reverb in this recording, it's probably not that much. It's actually way more subdued. It sounds a little bit more like a slap reverb as opposed to like a long tail like sort of reverb that I did before. So huge improvement for recording and also huge improvement for listening. And it's not just, like I said, not just those resonant frequencies, that tail reverb. It actually like makes the sound so much more dynamic and clear and easier to hear differences in the frequency spectrum. So like stuff that you thought was affecting the high end maybe wasn't the high end. Maybe it was some part of the mids that had a problem, but the reverberation in your room was causing it to kind of wash into the high end and make it seem like there was a high end issue. So it's a very big difference, and it's worth doing. And I don't think I actually mentioned the price of the acoustic foam either. It was like $250 for all of this, including shipping. Really good price overall, because if you went the route of bass traps, you'd be spending at least $500. So to get this much of an improvement for only like $200 and I think it was actually closer to $225, but for thereabouts, it's really good. It's actually really impressive. Later down the road, I'm 100% going to switch to bass traps, and that's going to be when I move out of an apartment, and I'm sure there's going to be a really big difference with that too, because I don't really have bass treatment, so everything is kind of high-end, mid-range, and maybe a little bit of low-end. But like the lows, we're not going to see a lot of improvement here with what I have. So mostly this was just kind of, you know, for the mids and the highs, what I could do with the space that I have right now. So overall, 10 out of 10 would do again. Foam Factory, great prices on their foam, and like I said, I wouldn't trust any of their like 1-inch, 2-inch stuff, but the 3 and 4 inches have done pretty well for me, just because, like, you know, there's so much more absorptive than anything that would be like 1 or 2 inch from any other brand anyway. So great stuff, especially for the price. I was able to cover like my entire room with a 96 square feet, and I think my room is like
10 by 13.
I don't know, something weird like that. You can see this corner, it's a little bit sparse, and I was kind of starting to run out around that time. And then also like on the door over here, there's not a ton, just it's gotten a little bit sparse, but overall I was able to get pretty good coverage. So that's all I have. Hopefully this video was interesting. I'm sure I'll do more acoustic treatment stuff later, but for now this is all I can do, and hopefully it was a little bit insightful. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.